they basically paved the way for Islam to move in even more rapidly, and they're a bit confused. Like, why isn't anything getting better? Because they had millions of people who declared themselves atheists and so on, following this. Hey, we can make the world better by all becoming atheists. And then they're looking around, going, "Huh, we had millions of new atheists, and the world doesn't seem to be getting better even slightly. It seems everyone seems to be going completely insane." But people keep making the same mistake of like, here's how things work in my little group, in my area of the world. Therefore, this is how they would work everywhere else.
Mhm.
That is like huge mistake. And here you have Christians making the same mistake. Hey, look, we're getting along. We can do it here. Then it can be anywhere. Let's go talk to Boko Haram. Try it. Prove us wrong.
He made more mistakes too. Patriarch Kirill of Moscow. He said that Orthodox Christians and Muslims have common understanding of a whole range of major issues related to human life.
Like,
This is, yeah, exactly. This is especially important now when moral and other fundamental principles, such as attitude toward family, marriage, and the purpose of man, are being revised or even derailed in many countries of the so-called civilized Western world.
oh, this guy's about 5 to 10 years behind the times, Robert. You had just a few years ago. You had all these conservative commentators talking about how we should unite with Islam. Christians should unite with Islam to combat the far left and so on. Failing to mention that, isn't it interesting that all these Muslim politicians end up on the far left? Like, why would you think why would you on the right think they're on your side? Ah, but we're going to agree that, they shouldn't be having drag queen story hour and things like that. Yeah, but they're going to disagree with you on some other things. And broke that down. The October 7th. That's what broke that down. And all these. Yeah, you had back then. You had all these conservative shows and stuff wanted Muslims on their shows to show how they're going to unite and work together to combat the far left. And then you had the October 7th attack, and all these conservative commentators who were planning on working with Muslims and stuff started noticing the Muslims were cheering for Hamas the entire time. And yay, slaughter the Jews, get the Jews, yeah. They're like, oh, this might not work out, except for the few that were willing to adapt, like Candace Owens and a couple others. They're willing to side with the Muslims against the Jews.
Yeah, the reason why I said really is because I was thinking about all the Christians who started rooting for Hamas. And I encountered a couple of those. That's actually why I wrote my book about anti-Semitism. Another story. Anyway, that is Patriarch Kirill of Moscow reflecting.
Oh, hey, hang on. I did want to point out, because this is a trajectory that we should all be paying attention to. So you had conservatives, and they were looking at like all the far left LGBTQ stuff, and they're like, hey, we could work together with Muslims on this. We're on the same page. And then let's get together and we'll be a united front. And then, a bunch of people just slaughtered tons of Jews and were raping them and everything. And let's talk about this. Oh no, now Muslims are telling us that Hamas is the good guys and so on. And so that alliance broke down. But right now you have all these people jumping on the hating Jews bandwagon, and now they're the ones who are warming up to Islam. You had the Hodge twins, whose channel is called the Conservative Twins, and they're actually like giving Islamic talking points now. It was shocking, Robert. They were trying to say how Iran doesn't actually want a nuclear bomb because, according to the Quran, if anyone kills a man, it's as if he's killed all mankind. These are conservative commentators, right? Giving Muslim talking points from like 20 years ago that we've destroyed thousands of times, and now they're giving them to a new generation that Islam is peaceful and wonderful.
Yeah, something a little bit off topic, connected, related. You'll see. I felt like I was in a time warp myself this week when I just happened to see on Twitter on X some Muslim guy saying, the Quran tells Muslims to kill non-Muslims? LOL, and all these emojis and laughing.
bunch of verses, didn't you?
Yeah, because that's what I do, you know. So I quoted 2:191, 489, 491, and 95, all of which say kill them wherever you find them, 95, the idolatry video. And 474, and the other sex. It went insanely viral with like 1.5 million views, and hundreds of listeners. So, of course, saying I was an evil idiot, pig, devil incarnate, all these things. But the most common thing that I said was, "Nothing these what is this? 2003? I haven't heard that in years." Yet that was all they had to say. I think I'm gonna have trying to start mixing videos and have talking about that.
It is interesting how like something can be an argument 20 years ago, and then we destroy it and we destroy it and destroy it, and they stop using it because they can't even bring it up anymore because it's been crushed so horribly. And then so we stop attacking it because they stopped using it, and then 20 years goes by, and they'll start using the same argument again because people aren't familiar with it anymore, and they can use it to deceive people once again.
Yep. Well, not today. Meanwhile, same old things are happening in, I actually noticed it. This is about how long there he is, in the late album today, 40 years old.
Story, but if I had to guess, I would say the next, since you already brought up 47.
Correct. Stabbed him in the neck. For a while we had, what was that other phrase that we had on one show that was
It never catches on. They try some variation.
Yeah. Rock, guys.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, Robert.
That's it. Rock. It's a declaration of the victory of Islam. The victory of Islam is manifested in the violent attack. That's why it goes together with the jihad attack. Killing of an infidel. That is Islam. Not showing for a lot of freedom. Normally, Dr. Ogland plays what speaking earlier in that determines that this Muhammad is not going to be tried. That's good. Mental
As we've mentioned many times, you can see exactly why this is. If you bombard people from the time they're in kindergarten, well, just bombard them with the idea that Islam is peaceful and wonderful, and that obviously Islam says if anyone kills a man, it's as if he's killed all mankind. So it's this radically peaceful and tolerant.
would have to be completely insane to interpret this at all.
And therefore, when somebody obviously insane, it's obviously mental. Fascinating.
Right, God, and so many stupid infidels this week. I think we talked about Shirazi last week. The Ayatollah Shirazi, who put out a death fatwa on Trump and Netanyahu. He's 98 years old. Yeah, I believe we did talk about him last week. But a very piquant detail has come to light this week about this same Ayatollah Shirazi. And that is that way back in August 2016, which was almost 10 years ago, Shirazi, the same Shirazi, sent a letter to Pope Francis. And he said, I'm really delighted to have heard your comments during your last trip to Poland, in which you stated Islam is not equal to terrorism, and further dismissed the association of violence and harshness with any all divinely sent religion. Your wise and logical stance regarding Islam and associating the religion with the inhumane actions and atrocities of the Takfiri groups such as Daesh is truly admirable. Daesh, of course, is ISIS, the Islamic State. Takfir is the practice of declaring fellow Muslims to be non-Muslims. All of the Muslim groups do it, but the modern day declare older Islamic groups to be non-Muslim. So anyway, Shirazi is out there praising Pope Frank for saying Islam doesn't equal terrorism, but now he is saying Trump and Netanyahu, and that was
No, this all makes perfect sense from this perspective. It does. When someone, you've got Muslims who actually believe that Islam is peaceful, and they're peaceful people that exist. They're usually people who've been westernized and so on. But you have Muslims who can call Islam a religion of peace and still believe in killing all the apostates and going have to be. You can't make an omelet without breaking some eggs. So, yeah, of course, Islam's a religion of peace, and we're going to slaughter every obstacle to our religion so that we get our peaceful utopia. And then, of course, you have the people who understand this is not about peace. We're going to kill everyone. Of course, we want to slaughter everyone. But we demand that it be called a religion of peace anyway. So, yep, quite the spectrum. And it's interesting because you can have people with completely different thoughts and completely different reasoning, and some can be completely evil and some can be very nice, and yet they'll all tell you exactly the same thing. You don't know what actually.
also can say that the Sunni jihadis are un-Islamic without thinking that violence in Islam is un-Islamic. It's just that it should be done by the Shia, not the Sunnis. And so that is the big difference. All right, let's find Hina Bukhari. This is Hina Bukhari. You can tell she's been suffering. She's barely eaten years old. And she is what is she? I have her title here. Oh, she's a member of the London Assembly of the Liberal Democrat Party. And so that is apparently, she wrote to Sadiq Khan, the mayor of London, demanding urgent, mandatory Islamophobia training across all institutions of the Greater London Authority to combat anti-Muslim hatred in London. You can tell that the Islamophobia is wasting your brains.
interesting how, I mean, you can have a country that invites people in, and then how many live in their faith? Aren't there like 1 million Muslims now in London?
Probably.
Whoa, 1.3 million, over 1.3 million Muslims. And then, what's the results? Oh, this place is so Islamophobic. It's so hateful. We all need to brainwash people into never questioning anything that they're seeing for themselves with their own eyes out in the streets.
Yep.
Because think, what's the Islamophobia? It's like women posting videos saying they don't feel safe walking down the street anymore because they can't walk out of their apartment without being groped and harassed and so on by guys following them around and so on. And they post this sort of thing. What happens? Well, that girl needs to be re-educated. She is a filthy, disgusting kafir, and she needs to either convert to Islam or keep her mouth shut about how she's being treated.